New at 6 today, federal immigration enforcement agents will get body cameras the first week of August. That announcement coming today from Senator Susan Collins, who says she confirmed this with the acting director of ICE. DHS has awarded a contract to purchase those cameras for $20 million that Senator Collins secured in the annual appropriations bill. Senator Collins says ICE will prioritize getting those cameras onto Maine agents. Few details have been shared about the investigation into the traffic stop and the shooting by ICE that killed Johan Sebastián Guerrero in Biddeford this month. Authorities in Minnesota were barred from evidence for months in their own investigations into deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Kristen Harsha has been looking into that investigation here in Maine and joins us now in the newsroom. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Brian. Details are still sparse, but we have it confirmed that the Maine Attorney General's office continues to be involved into the investigation of Guerrero's death.
Between the moments of anger and mourning were calls for accountability and an independent investigation.
We want to make sure this investigation is full, thorough, and transparent.
From Biddeford's Mayor Liam LaFountain, Representative Shelley Pingree.
They don't drop this before all the evidence is looked through and we have a thorough investigation of what went on.
And Senator Angus King.
We want a full, transparent, and open investigation of this matter.
Those calls continuing, Maine legislators writing to Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin, we call on you to ensure that DHS continues to cooperate fully with the investigation by Maine's Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Public Safety. There was not a strong precedent for an independent investigation. Minnesota officials were initially barred from evidence in the investigation of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, both killed by federal immigration agents. Local officials eventually getting access 6 months later. To get an update on where the Biddeford investigation stands, News Center Maine reached out to the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, Biddeford Police, ICE, and the Maine Attorney General's office. ICE directed us to DHS. DHS directed us to the agency's own office of the Inspector General. The FBI referred to DHS and the Maine AG's office. Biddeford Police also directed us to the Maine AG's office.
I don't know specifically, haven't been involved with investigations.
On CNN's State of the Union, Border Czar Tom Homan on Sunday shedding some light on the procedure.
They're usually put on administrative leave pending the investigation, pending, sworn statements, internal affairs interviews, and the entire investigation, they usually will not be put back on duty until the investigation is over.
Just this afternoon, we heard back from the Maine Attorney General's office. They confirmed with us, quote, there is an ongoing cooperation with the federal government, but they did not have any other details to share with us. Brian.
Christian Harsha live in our newsroom. Thank you, Christian. The Scarborough Town Council has unanimously voted in support of looking into the closure of the ICE facility in that community. Last night, councilors approved a proclamation to call upon Maine's congressional delegation to act. Several demonstrations have taken place outside of that center since that deadly shooting in Biddeford. The proclamation also asked the delegation to push for more transparency regarding ICE's actions in Maine. A man accused of assaulting a woman in Portland with bodily fluids is denying the allegations now. An attorney for Theo Ortesis says he was grabbing food when a woman confronted him and accused him of throwing semen at her. The attorney, Mike Whipple, says he agreed to give his DNA sample to police. Whipple says his client also took a polygraph test and appeared to be speaking the truth.
He has scientific evidence that he's innocent, right? Not just his statement compared to her statement, who's more believable.
The Department of Justice's Criminal Resource Manual notes several limitations for polygraph tests, saying they only measure physical reactions to questions and can't indicate if someone is guilty or innocent. Federal workplace safety officials are issuing 12 citations to a Washington County paper mill now. Back in January, 2 people died in a gas leak there. Since then, an investigation into the mill has continued. News Center Maine's Ryan Bell joining us live in studio with today's developments. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Brian. OSHA is proposing nearly $800,000 in fines to Woodland Pulp after an investigation found that the mill exposed employees to serious health and safety risks. 4 of the citations were for not providing workers with proper alarms or breathing devices. The other 8 were for a lack of employee training, failure to conduct medical evaluations, and neglecting to label chemicals or control chemical exposure risks. A CSB investigation found the leak occurred when chemicals mixed to create hydrogen sulfide, which is a toxic gas. The mill was in the process of temporarily shutting down at the time and had shut off its scrubber fan. That's a machine that sucks up some of those chemicals. OSHA says it opened 2 separate investigations into the company this year, one in January for the gas leak and then another in March for a hydrogen peroxide spill. Woodland Pulp has been inspected 13 times by the agency since 2017 and received 14 total citations prior to the incidents. The gas leak over the winter exposed 12 employees to hydrogen sulfide, killing 20-year-old engineering student Casey Malcolm and 26-year-old engineer Alan Hornberger. The attorney representing both families in a wrongful death lawsuit tells us they're seeking justice for the young men.
Of the tens and thousands of inspections OSHA conducts annually, there are only a few hundred serious willful violations. The fact that 4 were issued for what happened at Woodland Pulp really demonstrates the culture of safety that was lacking at this plant.
And a spokesperson for Woodland Pulp told CENTER Maine the company is aware of those citations and is in the process of reviewing them, but they declined to comment further. Woodland Pulp now has 15 days to comply or appeal with OSHA's fines. In studio tonight, Ryan Bell, CENTER Maine.
A new law to protect Maine's paid family and medical leave program from private group trusts is now in effect. Under that, private plans for employers are prohibited from pooling their insurance risk. State lawmakers say that would cause issues with the program's stability and make benefits less reliable. Workers in Maine can now apply for that benefit, allowing them to have paid time off for certain life events.